Howdy ho. Now, have you ever wondered how some people just get their head around brand new pieces of tech really quickly? Well, stick around because we're going to show you some tips. So look, learning a new piece of technology can be a really confusing journey, like diving into a maze. So stick around as we discover how setting clear goals can transform your confusing journey into a clear path.
That's one thing I've kind of struggled with when it comes to learning new tech. First, you go through the phase of discovering it. Everyone's talking about this new technology, this new framework. Okay, cool. Let's go. Let's read up about it. I watch a video on YouTube about it. I check out the documentation, and often there is a Hello World tutorial about it. Then you read it. Then you have a play with it. You install a few things, you follow the first 2 pages, and then you forget about it, like me. And that's it. And I do think sometimes that it would be good if I can actually use this technology. And that's the important thing. Have a goal, set it up, deploy it somewhere, build something basic, map out your learning goals.
Learning new tech doesn't need to be a solo mission. Discover the power of having the right crew by your side.
And I followed some of this automatically. I just went straight to the Drupal.org things, like read a bit, got into the code, and I was making mistakes doing it wrong. Then decided, hey, look, this Drupal thing's pretty cool. I want a job in it, and went and applied for a job. And then they sent me a task that said, we want you to build a module that puts a block on this page that says such and such, and it's positioned in this spot. So I got to do a module. So you go to Drupal and you read the how to build a module documentations. I followed it step by step. Now, I was coming in with some pre-experience of I knew to run coding standards and stuff like that. I could code already. So I had a goal, right? In that scenario, the goal was offered to me on a platter. So like my advice is just go get the job, because it's going to put you into that exact position where you can go, I have a goal. I have something to map out. The counter to that, though, is your job's then to a large extent going to dictate that map.
Yes. If you can learn on the job, well, A, you're paid. Second, if you have a team that specializes in that technology, that is the best way to learn, because if you have a problem, they will tell you and teach you and kind of guide you. And because that's how I learned a lot of React back in 2016, like the long time ago, because I all of a sudden joined a team that was mostly front end, and they were like, we don't have any Drupal work, but do you want some React work? Yeah, why not? And they reviewed my PRs and they mentioned this, they mentioned, that, oh, you need to change this, you need to change that. And that was a great way to learn. But then I did that for a couple months, and then React changed about 5 times since then. It keeps changing. But the concept is still pretty much the same. And right now, even though I am still a Drupal person, we use Next.js on the front end. So occasionally I do go in there and I dabble and break things and play around with Next.js. And if I have a problem, I just ask the front end, like a front ender, and say, is this okay? Is this how it's meant to be done?
Having a good team, and this is similar to community, having people around.
Totally. That can honestly make or break your career. You can really set the path for your career.
Now, if you are learning a new piece of tech on your own, we'll share the secret of how setting the right kind of goals can turn the tide in your favor.
If you are learning on your own, I think it's important just to figure out what your goals are, and then just try and be as specific, or what is it? SMART. I know you don't like acronyms.
I don't like that one either.
What is it? Specific, measurable,
actionable, timely.
No, there's an R in there. Smart. Yeah.
Realistic.
See, you know all of this, man. You should. Yeah. Well, there you go. Yeah.
I know because I don't like it. That's smart, guys.
But
anyway,
but yeah, one of the recent examples I can give you is I was catching the train down to Sydney. And for people who don't know, I live outside of Sydney, about 2.5 hours outside of Sydney. So I was catching a train down to Sydney, and there's no internet on the train. And so I always like to set things up locally on my machine, because I've got a bit of time where I can actually concentrate and not be bombarded by notifications. And what I was doing is I was setting up a Tailwind site in Drupal and just integrating that myself. And I was like, okay, by the time I get into Sydney, I want to set up have the site themed with the menu. And then in between spotting internet, I would quickly just Google things. It's like, why doesn't this work? Oh, yeah, this doesn't work because of this way. So for me, that was like a proper goal. I had a goal. I wanted to set this thing up. I went in there and I built a pretty decent site. I learned something.
And look, setting goals isn't for everybody. Stick around as we explore how setting a broader vision can help keep you moving forward as the path changes.
That I'm not very good at just going, I'm going to spin up a site and I'm going to make Twitter. I need an actual problem, a real problem to solve, to motivate myself. So that's why I advise go get a job, because then they'll give you real problems.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I'm a big believer in vision, sort of why I'm a bit resistant to SMART goals. I got my vision. I like to be able to adapt on the fly. As soon as you got those goals, you feel locked on them and they lock you in. Sometimes you should let them go. Love that cult of done we talked about last week for those reasons, right?
Yes.
Just get done. Just move from one spot to another, to the next, to the next. If you've got your focus, if you know what you want to do and you know what you want to achieve, then you just keep focusing on that and take the most obvious next step.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, if you wonder where the best advice hides, we're about to explore how having the right community matters more than you think.
There are groups on Facebook where I see people asking questions. They're asking Drupal questions. The Drupal community doesn't exist on Facebook.
Yeah.
You're going to use a tool like Drupal, go read Drupal's community page and it'll lead you where you need to be. It's really that simple.
Yeah.
But I advise you, any piece of software, especially in open source world, but so much of our tech, go check out their website and read it first. So ask your question on Facebook. There's people there that can help, but they're not the best people to ask. I mean, I happen to be on there, but I'm not the best person to ask all the time either. Because I know there are people that know more than I do, and I know where they are.
Yes.
I don't want to hijack someone's group on Facebook either and go, you're in the wrong group, go ask somewhere else. It's, if you're on Facebook, go and join Slack. That's where that's where they are.
So if you enjoyed those tips on how to pick up a new piece of tech quickly, we explored this topic much deeper in our full-length podcast, which you can watch here.